Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's happening? Back with another prediction for the big fight card coming up this weekend, September 26th. JERMALL Charlo, they going at it, man. They got two big fights. You know, both of those guys focused and ready to go, man. And the build up to this fight has been great. Just the anticipation. And, you know, I'm excited to see both of these guys get in the ring and do their thing. Y'all can go back and watch my JERMALL Charlo versus Jason Rosario prediction. But JERMALL Charlo versus SERGIY Derevyachenko, man. This is going to be a very, very important fight for both guys. Very important fight for JERMALL Charlo simply for the fact that, you know, a lot of people view his resume as very weak. A lot of people feel like he hasn't been tested. A lot of people feel like he hasn't been in there with any stiff competition that would prove to us that he's of the elite caliber of the middleweights and guys in and around that division, 160, 168, 175. So, you know, people don't really respect JERMALL Charlo's his track record, his resume. People can see that he's a very athletic fighter, very strong, very physically gifted, a very technical fighter, has natural punching power, a very cerebral fighter, you know, but he hasn't really gotten that respect that he feels that he deserves. And 95%, I'm going to tell you like this. We know that there's a select group of guys and people that no matter what JERMALL Charlo do, they never going to like JERMALL Charlo. So we're not talking about them. We're talking about the people that, you know, genuinely they like, okay, look, he ain't got the resume. I really don't know how good he's going to be. I don't know how good he is until he fights somebody. And that's understandable. SERGIY Derevyachenko is a guy that he's respected. People view Derevyachenko as a tough guy, a guy that comes to fight every time, throws a lot of punches, very game fighter, a very good fighter, very skilled. People felt like he beat Triple G. You know, there's a lot of people that felt like that fight should have at the very least been a draw. A lot of people gave him the win. He had a very good and competitive fight versus Danny Jacobs. That fight was, you know, was going back and forth pretty much the whole fight. I thought Danny Jacobs did enough to pull out the win, which he did get the decision. And, you know, those were two title fights. He had an opportunity to get a title versus Danny Jacobs, came up short. Had an opportunity to get a title versus Triple G, came up short. So this fight is very important for both guys because on one hand, you have JERMALL Charlo, who's itching to prove his worth. He's itching to make a statement and show these people like, dog, y'all are madly underestimating me. Y'all don't know like what type of fighter I am. And if after everything that I've done, all the work that I put in, y'all still don't respect me, I got to show y'all then. I got to make a statement. That's on one hand, you got JERMALL Charlo feeling like that. On the other hand, you got SERGIY Derevyachenko, who, you know, he's starving for a title shot. He's starving for an opportunity to become a champion. And, you know, you got JERMALL Charlo, who's a WBC champion. It's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm it's a perfect setup for a great fight. And there's a lot on the line. If JERMALL Charlo wins this fight, he becomes, you know, a part of that upper echelon of the middleweights. He instantly gets in a conversation with the guys like Triple G, like Canelo. If Canelo does come back down to 160, you know, he gets in the conversation with the guys like Danny Jacobs, to where at this point it's like y'all gotta come see me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I beat Derevyachenko and did it convincingly. If he can do that, if he can put on a great performance and do it convincingly and impressively, there's no way that you can't mention JERMALL CHARLO amongst the top guys at the 160-pound division. Derevyachenko, if he wins, he becomes champion, and he has bigger fights coming for him. He has, he'll probably get an opportunity to fight Canelo, maybe a rematch with Triple G, maybe a unification match with, one of the other champions in the division. So, a lot of huge implications in this fight. Stylistically, I think it's a fun matchup. I think it's a very tactical matchup. You have Derevyachenko, who he comes forward, throws a lot of punches. Not a big puncher. He doesn't have major knockout power or major punching power, but he has a high work rate after about the second or third round. He normally starts off slow, but after about the second and third round, maybe even the fourth round, is when he really kick it up. And he start throwing a lot of punches, and he come forward. He's relentless, and he gonna make you work every second of every round. He really wins a lot of rounds simply just because he works and works, throws punches, and he's a good body puncher. He's precise. He's gonna be the smaller guy in this fight, which his come forward style and his work rate is going to be very important in this fight, because he's going to have to work hard to get on the inside of the taller, longer JERMALL CHARLO. Here you have JERMALL CHARLO, who's a very technical fighter, great jab, great left hook, got a solid uppercut. You seen that against J-Rock. He can throw punches from any angle. He loves to be set and keep his leverage, but he's athletic enough, extremely athletic, probably, probably the most athletic fighter at the 160-pound division. He could throw any punch from any angle. Very strong, tough, granite chin. He got hit by some shots versus Korobov, who he fought on short notice. That was a very, very tough fight for him to adjust to a guy like Korobov, who was a very crafty, veteran, savvy fighter, very intelligent fighter that, JERMALL CHARLO really didn't have a lot of time to prepare for. And he weathered the storm versus Korobov, but, he took a couple of solid shots from Korobov. And, he took a couple of shots from J-Rock too. And he was able to weather the storm. I never seen JERMALL CHARLO hurt, never seen him off center or off his game. And, so that I feel like he passed the chin test. He got a lot of heart. You can see in the Korobov, going back to the Korobov fight, when it came down to it, 11 and 12 round, he kicked it up. Korobov was slowing down, and JERMALL CHARLO went into another gear. And, I think those last few rounds is what got him to win in that fight. He can really do it all in the ring, man. He has pretty solid defense, good distance control. With the jab, helps him a lot with the range and the distance control. So this is going to be one of those fights where you have it's the classic matchup where you have a guy that's going to be coming forward, and you have a guy like JERMALL CHARLO who can box off the jab going back. I think there's going to be instances in this fight where JERMALL CHARLO chooses to box, lateral movement, and move back some using the jab, keeping the distance, keeping the fight in the middle of the ring, fighting off the back foot a little bit. And then I think you're going to see spots in this fight where JERMALL CHARLO chooses to use his size and his athleticism, use that jab to push Derevyachenko back. I think this matchup favors JERMALL CHARLO more than it does Derevyachenko. You got Derevyachenko, who's about 5'9". He's going to have the disadvantage on the reach. And like I said, he's going to have to be the one to work his way on the inside to get beyond that jab of JERMALL CHARLO. JERMALL CHARLO, who, like I said, he can really choose to box, or he could choose to try to walk Derevyachenko down and come forward. And I just feel like he got more tools. He got more options and different things that he can do in the fight. And I think it's going to suit him. This matchup is going to suit him well for him to be able to keep Derevyachenko at bay with the long, stiff jab and be able to counter Derevyachenko as, Derevyachenko comes in and tries to work his way on the inside. And I think you might see, you know, a knockdown or two in this fight. I think, you know, this fight is going to be, you know, a chess match for most of the fight. But then at some point, I feel like you'll see JERMALL CHARLO take control. And I got JERMALL CHARLO winning by unanimous decision. I got JERMALL CHARLO winning by unanimous decision. I think it could either be, I think it's either going to be a unanimous decision or a late round stoppage, maybe something late like 11th, possibly 12th round. But I say like the 11th round, you might get a TKO stoppage by JERMALL CHARLO, just from him being able to control Derevyanchenko from the outside. Maybe Derevyanchenko gets a little bit too aggressive because he hasn't been able to get on the inside. He understands that he's down on the cards, and now he got to make a move. He understands that this is third title shot. He might not get another title shot, and he going to take some chances, and I think JERMALL CHARLO going to make him pay. So I got JERMALL CHARLO winning a 8-4 type of unanimous decision versus Derevyanchenko with a possible late round, 11th, 12th round TKO, man. So that's how I see the fight happening. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a good test for JERMALL CHARLO to let everybody know where he is amongst the other top guys in the division. And yeah, man, and I'm going to be excited to see, you know, where he goes from this. If this fight turns out how I think it's going to turn out, I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Derevyanchenko causes some issues, you know, at points in the fight. But I would be surprised if JERMALL CHARLO wasn't able to overcome anything that Derevyanchenko brings to the table. You know, so y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Who y'all got in this fight and how y'all see this shit playing out and why y'all picking who y'all picking, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.